Memory.
Read, I don't even know where the fuck it is. Hopefully, yeah, we're still capturing the video. That's a good thing.
There you go.
Well, thought you were gonna read.
Oh, you want me to do it out loud?
Yes. Yeah, that was a basic fucking idea.
I see you reading it.
You see, you're supposed to be telling this story. Okay.
Reading it to myself.
You're supposed to be narrating this story.
Soon a small band of YouTubers were frantically texting each other in panic.
Oh shit! I'm sorry, I did that wrong.
They knew this day was coming. Like a mad dictator, Google had been making threats for months. Now it was G+ day. Something had to be done. But what? Taking a giant risk, the leader of the band made a bold move. It was time to stand up against this evil empire. In a desperate move, he took his mouse, sweating profusely, clicked on Google Chrome, and began the revolution. They had planned for this day meeting in internet cafes and coffee shops, running the risk of discovery over unsecured wireless networks, having studied the maps of the locations of the evil empire's headquarters. They knew it was just off the San Francisco Bay. Of course, they could have just driven down Highway 101 and made a dash for the delivery entrance, but they had developed another plan, one that Google would not anticipate. It was a desperate plan, but desperate times called for desperate actions. Very soon, the band of pirate patriots were on their way to Oslo, Norway. Having taken separate taxis to Oakland and San Francisco airports, booking different flights to avoid detection, they finally arrived in Oslo 3 days later. Soon they were in a cafe, catching up by text message as they sat across a table from each other and ate a hearty meal of rackfisk, washed down with
Himmelbread.
The waiter had produced from his backpack. Interesting. Soon the door of the cafe burst open, and an elderly sea captain staggered in and plumped down in a dark corner booth. A hush came over the cafe. Who is this man? Our band of troopers looked around. The other patrons were holding napkins over their faces and all looking at the booth. Then it happened. There was a slow hissing sound which grew louder, followed by what may be described as the noise a balloon makes when you hold the end and let it deflate. Women screamed, children ran for the door. Sheriffs were returned. It was then our leader knew this was who they had come to in Oslo to meet. He stood, gasping for breath, and walked over to the corner booth. The air seemed thick with fog. Holding a napkin over his mouth and nostrils, he whispered, Captain Johannesson? The sea captain struck a wooden match on the table and blew it out. He looked up and, in a unmistakable Boston accent, nodded. I thought you would never make it, he said. The sulfur from the match seemed to have dissipated the fog, and the revolutionary leader slid into the other side of the booth. Have the arrangements been made? He asked the old sea dog, who nodded as only a Bostonian can. A short time later, the group found themselves down at the docks, and the object of their quest sitting quietly in the water. It had been days, but the old sea captain assured them it was perfectly seaworthy before grabbing the duffel bag full of cash and thrusting a very large St. Christopher medal with a magnet, a package of J.B. Weld, and a roll of saran wrap into their hands. Our heroic revolutionaries made their way on deck. Using their smartphones for light, opened the hatch and climbed inside, where they immediately discovered 500 millimeters of brackish seawater filled the floor. Goggling translations, it was not long before they had some lights on and started the bilge pumps. They started the main diesel engines and charged the batteries. Several groups of laughing sailors walked by during the night, all pointing and laughing. They must have had too much stupid fun, or surely our leader thought. They sent one of the group to the harbor master's office to inquire about procedure leaving the harbor. The harbor master just laughed and said they would, undoubtedly just be on the bottom and no danger to the ships. As soon as they they weighed anchor, it became clearer what this round rip was for. It seems the seals on the conning tower were leaky. That being solved, they embarked on their mission. They were quite surprised for such an old submarine that it seemed to be automated as it speedily dived below the surface without anyone doing anything. The water gushing through the forward bulkhead, of course, meant something else. An hour later, after mixing a part of the JB weld and securing the hull with the St. Christopher magnet, they were on their way. Not really having any freaking idea about navigation or submarines, our heroes were at least a little lost. Their first stop was Mount Fuji. They also forgot to bring along any provisions. Digging through the now soaked backpacks, they were able to find Jolly Ranchers, 3 cans of Red Bull, and 2 bottles of Starbucks Frappuccino. The galley was disappointing. There was a carton of Cold War sea rations, a 5 drum of saltine crackers, and a second drum containing toilet paper, a roll of plastic bags, and instructions on making a latrine. So it was with their heavy hearts they set course for San Francisco.
The end. So far.
So far. To be continued, really. That's fun. I see my voice started giving out. I'm cold now. Need some beer.